What's up, guys and gals, and welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, I have a simple question for you, actually. Have you played Zero Sievert since they retooled everything? Because over the course of the last couple months, Zero Sievert has gone through a lot of changes. And as you might have guessed from the title of this video, I've begun playing on those changes in the game's Hunter mode, which is effectively almost like oh my god, I'm getting shot so much right now. Yeah, I just want you to die. I don't even know what you're shooting at me with right there, but it sounds super awesome. I've been playing on Hunter mode, which is effectively the game mode that's exactly like Escape from Tarkov, which is when you end up dying, you drop all your loot on the ground, and you gotta start over from scratch. And if I was telling you the truth, I think that this one fundamental change to the way that I play Zero Sievert in terms of difficulty has revitalized and made the game more fun in a way that it has not been before. Now, I'm a little bit of a masochist when I play games. I come from a background of playing stuff like XCOM. I come from, oh my god, I've been shot in the face. That's definitely where I come from right about now. Let me go ahead and bandage that bleed up off my boo-boos right there. But man, he really let me have it, didn't he? I'm going to fall back a little bit back behind these trees and take a shot. But as I was saying, I come from a background of playing like a lot of Battle Brothers and playing oh, did I get them all? Are they down? Oh, I might have got them all with that shot. I don't know if that guy died right there or if he's still up. Let me get a fast tap or rap tap bang real quick. Battle Brothers, XCOM, Xenonauts, games that tend to be really harsh and really punishing and really nasty and really sort of unfair. And one of my things with Zero Sievert is that I've always been a long-time Escape from Tarkov player. Talked about it a couple times on the channel, but at this point, I've been playing since like 2016, 2017? I don't know, right around the time that the game released. Woods, I think, was the time that I started playing. And so anyways, at this point, I've got like thousands and thousands and thousands of hours in Escape from Tarkov, most of it on live, but also a considerable chunk of it on the SPT Aki solo player Tarkov branch, basically, which is a thing that's out there. And so I love the feeling of just like a thrilling loss where like you almost made it. Oh my god, okay, they're like everywhere over here. They're dug in like ticks. All right, that almost went really poorly to me. I really like it when a game bangs. I really like it when a game is mean to you and spits in your mouth. And that's kind of what this game is now with the current changes that I've been playing under. So in Zero Sievert's Hunter mode, nothing is permanent. All of the items have been made much cheaper in the shops. Not that much cheaper, though. It still stings when you die. And then from there, you've just got to kind of give it a rip and try to survive for as long as possible. On top of that, since the last time we covered the game... Oh my god. Where is this guy at, and why can't I get a line of sight on him? There he is. All right, I think we got them all. Since the last time we played the game, they have also fully retooled the progression. They've changed around the looting system. They've basically redone everything from scratch. In fact, I think the newest patch that dropped like this morning or the day before yesterday, very recently they dropped the patch that actually redoes every single quest in the game. That's a super sexy kitted out. That's actually a really kitted out AK right there compared to the rotten one that I'm wielding. So I'm going to go ahead and take that real quick and we'll hold on to it. Stuff in your secondary slot doesn't cost you weight. And in so doing, they've changed the entire narrative of the game, they've changed the progression of the game, they've changed the loot systems of the game, and that, in combination with the fact that recently I've been playing on Hunter mode, which is like the hardest difficulty, has effectively made this game one of the most intense experiences I've had in gaming in a really long time. I do have some caveat. I guess I've got like some minor complaints about the current patch. Here's the thing about games. When you completely and totally retool a game from scratch and redo everything from like the level up system to like the questing system to the narrative, everything from the ground up, there's going to be a lot of bugs. This is effectively a full overhaul patch. And so one warning I will give you is that I do have some complaints. Most of them are related to bugs and things that are not working properly with the current build. But that having been said, I've been having a blast since I dove back in. And so I think that if you give it a couple weeks for them to polish all that stuff on out and get the current build up to snuff, I think you're going to have a really good time too. So, what is Zero Sievert? Well, for those of you that may have never seen Zero Sievert before, Zero Sievert is effectively a sandbox, open-world, single-player extraction shooter. And there's not too many of those around. There's quite a few extraction shooters that have been barking up Escape from Tarkov's tree, things like the Cycle Frontier and other games like that, Marauders. However, almost nobody has gone after a single player version of that. And we're just starting to see the first round of these very in-depth, very customizable, very gun moddable, I think, single player versions of Tarkov. Like Quasimorph is coming out, Zero Sievert has been out for a while, and I'm very stoked about this. This is actually something that's got me very much excited, because a lot of the time I don't really feel like doing the full loot PvP thing. Sometimes I want to do full loot and I still want to have the risk of losing everything, but I want to have like a narrative in there, a storyline in there, stuff going on, like a world that my character is fighting against. And Zero Sievert seeks out to kind of combine the worlds of Escape from Tarkov with that of Stalker and give you that extraction shooter survival experience where you got to mind all of your meters, you got to eat, you gotta drink, you gotta make sure that you don't end up with horrible bleed wounds or anything else, and you gotta take out as much loot as you possibly can every single time you run into the map, and evac with it without dying. Now, in normal Zero Sievert mode, if you're playing on the normal difficulty, you keep all your stuff. Everything in the shop costs like 2 or 3 times as much, but when you die, nothing bad happens, you reload, you come back in the middle of base with all of your stuff, as though you had never gone in the mission in the first place. That's cool and everything, but for whatever reason, that sort of, for me, lacked the intensity that I like to feel inside the confines of my gameplay. And so I started fiddling around. I kind of burned this game out. I played it for like 30 or 40 hours when it first came out in early access, and I hadn't really checked back in on it, except to do like yearly updates, basically. This time around, I came back and I decided, you know what, let's ramp up the difficulty. Let's put this thing on like super difficult mode and just see if it changes anything around for me. And in fact, it completely and totally did, and I'm really glad to report that. Now, what is the point of this game, you might be asking? Am I just going out in the zone and just lasting for as long as possible with random quests? No. This is the Green Army base. This is where you're going to start out at the beginning of the game. It has basically all of the accompaniment that you would expect from a home base location, but it has recently been completely and totally redone. All of the quests are different. All of the quest givers are a little bit different. The progression feels much different now, and in fact, they've added in a new reputation system as well that is quite punishing. But the goal of the game is you have this little area of the base that belongs to you. Over here, you can go to this workbench, and while you're inside the zone, you're collecting all of the crap and all of the stuff and all of the garbage so that you can build up modules like gunsmithing benches and beds and kitchen areas where you can cook food to get better nutrition, areas where you can recycle weapons and armor more effectively, areas where you can catch rats to get an endless supply of meat, and then there's even more modules on top of that that you're going to want to play around with. Aside from building up your own base inside this little area over here, you will also be doing quests for the various factions in the game. You've got the barman, who's like the leader of the loners. You've got the scientists over here. You've also got the Green Army up to the top left, and all of these factions have been reworked. In the old versions of the game, they would just give you quests on day one when you walked into this place, and you didn't really have any reputation. Like, all of the factions were locked by how far into the narrative you were. Now the game is much more sandboxy. Factions have their own storylines and their own things that they are working towards, but you start out hostile with pretty much everybody at this point, which means that you got to go through this guy right here, the networker. Now, the networker, he will give you tasks. These tasks will just be random things that you need to go out and do, and they will be tied in with certain factions. As of right now, they are fairly rudimentary. The quests are not super crazy, wild, and difficult as of right now, but you do need to grind up your reputation with these factions, otherwise they will fire on sight when they see you because they haven't learned to love you yet. They haven't learned to appreciate your finer qualities. But I have found that that change has made the game significantly more nasty and significantly more paranoid, because in previous builds of the game, if I got myself into trouble, I could just fall back to sort of like a red or a green army area, and they would back me up and kill whoever it was that was chasing me and trying to take me down. No longer. Now everybody on the map wants to kill you at all times, and the paranoia is quite real until you get your reputation up. There is gun modding in this game. As you can see, between these two AKs, there are a lot of differences. I actually need to peel all the goodies off of this AK and put them on this AK. So I'll show you how that process works by going over to the gun bench. Your weapons do have durability. They do break over time, and so anything that's got a durability of like less than 85% seems to jam pretty much every single shot has been my experience so far. So just don't let your stuff fall down beneath that level or you're going to hate your life. Yeah, and we'll go ahead and get that detached right there. What kind of... So that's a Gen 3. It's got a faster reload speed. Yeah, I'll take that too. I also want the handguard, and that should be just about everything. We'll come back over here, and we're going to slippity-slap all these dope attachments onto my gun. So we'll put the EOTech on there. We'll put the silencer on there. We're going to put on the new sexy magazine. We're going to swap out the handguard for that guy right there. We're going to attach... Which is the best foregrip here? Ergonomics versus recoil. Let's go for, I guess, the ergonomics for right now, because I'm guessing probably having the silencer on there, or the suppressor on there, is going to make it very, very unwieldy, would be my guess. And so whatever evens that out. And looky there, now we've got ourselves a bubbed out gun that looks pretty good. Bubba mode activated. I do have a mission, so we're going to go into a new zone here, and we're going to see if we can complete that mission. I have never seen the mission before that I am about to attempt to do. So there is, of course, an exceptionally high chance that this is going to fall apart catastrophically on me as I head on out here into the wasteland. But let's get her done, shall we? It's a little tiny bit late in the day, but we need to go take a look at a radio station that's out in the makeshift camp, from what I understand. So let's head on out to the makeshift camp. I just unlocked it by wiping out a bandit blockade. That's one of the new quests that did not exist the last time that I played the game. You just kind of could go to whatever zone whenever you wanted after you completed a very simple quest for the train man. Now we have the ability. We got to find... That kind of looks... I think that looks like a radio station to me, because they've got a concrete paddock right there, but they've also got a secondary foundation on that side that looks like it might be the mooring for an actual, like, Wi-Fi antenna or like a satellite antenna. So let's go check that real fast. I'm going to cut on a light real quick because it's kind of dark and spooky out here. Some wolves down to the south. Probably won't pay them any mind. I'd rather not deal with any wolves right... Oh. Okay. It looks like the wolves have chosen to press the issue. Apparently, we have a big problem with lupine kind, and we're going to square it off just like machine gun style. Our gun sounds so much doper right now. I'm really, really happy with this modification that we've done. I need to get my health back up. I've got 3 right there. I've got this little guy right here. Let me go ahead and bandage myself. Top left-hand corner, you're looking at HP. Underneath that is stamina. Little meters from the left to the right that are next to that are going to be your energy. That is to say your sleep. You've got your hunger, your water, and how irradiated you are. You want them to be green. That's what you would prefer. A railroad that goes across a street, huh? It happens right next to my house where I live, too. There's a train that runs behind my house about 450 times a day. What's weird is when I moved in, it would keep me awake, like, all the time. It would wake me up with the horn, like, 5 times a night. It's amazing how the human brain has, like, a filtration mechanism, though, that begins to kick in, and as you get tireder, I don't even hear it anymore. That's the funniest part about it. Now, there are anomalies. There are supernatural happenings out here. They're all ghouls, nasties, beasties that you're going to want to watch out for that are not quite as natural. There's somebody smoking right there. So there's a bandit right there. Neutralize him. Tango down. Watch our line of sight very carefully. We don't know where the rest of the banditos are going to be at. Another one down. Straight operator status right now. I don't know if there's going to be 2 or 3, though, so we need to sweep this corner. Okay, we're good right there. Let me go ahead and get their loot up off of their cold, dead bodies and see what we got. Now, on hunter mode, everybody's going to drop their armor, which does make gearing up a little bit easier. I am going to take the Mosin and the 67 rubles. I will take the chocolate bar. Where was that other guy that I greased over here? Right there. All right, so we killed a guy right here, too. What's he got in his pockets? Anything good? Basic bandage. Looks like a scorpion. Okay. I don't really want any of that for right now. The vendors run out of money way too easy in this build, so there's not really a huge amount of point hiking out like a whole bunch of stuff that you're really excited about, because you're probably not going to be able to sell it anyways. I'm trying to build a kitchen inside my base. If you're wondering why I'm looting Rachel Ray forks right now, it's because I'm trying to build a kitchen in my base. We're going to do it at the end of the video with whatever supplies I have on hand, but we still have about... Oh, God. Okay, yep, run. All right, that really, really, really hurt. We're going to go ahead and bandage that up real fast. I think that was probably an SV-98 sniper. It's kind of hard to tell, but let me go ahead and throw some boo-boo bandages on it real quick. That probably shredded my armor, too. Yeah, it did. We lost half our armor durability on the plates on that one shot. Where's this nerd at? Came out of nowhere. Ah, it's the Green Army. We are hostile with the Green Army by default, which makes no sense because we're sleeping inside their base right now. In terms of the storyline, we're staying inside of a Green Army bunker, and they don't seem to have a problem with us there. But in the new build, the Green Army, which if you've never played this game before, are effectively like really well-geared, really nasty guys. They are hostile with you by default now in the current build. And man, it is a nightmare. Not just because they have amazing gear, amazing accuracy, amazing bullets that cut through like super thick armor with armor-piercing rounds, but also because I've found the biggest issue is their armor is the same color as the foliage that they hide inside of, which means that a lot of the time you'll just be walking across the map like I was just now, and then you'll instantly get shot in the face and die, and you'll be like, wait, what just happened? Green Armied. And so that's, I think, one of those things that I think is a little too harsh about the newest patch that they need to back off on, is the Green Army should not be friendly, but they should not be hostile by default either. To me, not because they're difficult to fight, but just because their visibility is too low, and it feels very unfair when you've got a Green Army guy that kills you because he's behind foliage like this, except it doesn't dither like it did with this tree for me because I'm behind it. You just can't see him back there, and then a bullet will just rip out of there and instantly kill you because their ammo and their guns are so good. This is a place that I needed to investigate for the quest. We're good. I'm not going to go inside of there because it's getting dark, and I don't like being out after dark. So let's go ahead and just whoop, 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 retreat back to base real fast to feel a little bit better and call this one a day. Not a terrible evac, in my opinion. Honestly, in this game, anytime you get a quest done, you should be happy about it. So we're going to turn that in. He's going to give us some repair kits, which is really nice because I could use them. These repair kits right here are really nice for fixing up your guns. And so what I'll probably do is I'll probably grab a couple of these 7.62 and 5.45 repair kits for like Warsaw weapons, and let's see what the next quest is that he has for us. So he wants me to fix it now. Strange electrical anomalies were there. We need to repair the radio tower, Hunter. It will allow us to get news from the surrounding areas. Don't worry about anomalies. I'm sure everything that moves can be killed. I'm also going to give you the repair kit. The tower is located just inside the fence at the northwest part. Good luck. I've actually not dealt with radio anomalies too much, so this may be a little bit intense. So they gave me the repair kit for the radio tower. Can I get another one if I die? In perma-drop mode, this is a concern. I guess I could just drop the quest and take it again if I wanted to. Did you, like, get your money back yet? No, my man is still just cold broke at this moment. I think I should have access to the Green Army area back here, too. Yeah, I was going to say, with that last quest, he said we were going to hang out with the Green Army, and I don't know how these guys have been changed, but there should be a bunch of different, like, dudes back here, and you can now join factions as well. This is the newest feature of the game, too, is that you can join factions and you can take on their enemies as your enemies, but once you've done that, your narrative and the way that you play the game is forever changed. So if you choose to join like the scientists, or you choose to join the Green Army, or you choose to join the Red Army, or you choose to join whichever faction you decide to throw in your lot with, it's going to like inexorably change the way the game kind of plays for you, which I think is kind of cool too. The good news is we should have, maybe these guys have money. Oh no, they all share. See, that's a problem. They shouldn't share the same money like that. They're all from different factions. They should all have like a different treasurer. That kind of bothers me. I guess we'll just sleep till morning for right now because we don't really have too much else going on. And we'll see if that like restocks the stores maybe with a little bit more cash. Yay. Nay. Oh, it did give him 17 grand. That's something. It's better than what we had previously. Here, take this little bracelet right here and just throw that on in there. And then you can also have Glorious Soviet Mosin. There you go. Go take that Mosin. I need money. But yeah, that's one of the things that I think needs to change too, is that the characters in this game should have far more money than they normally do. I would say probably having them get 50,000 rubles a day would be a really good idea. Right now it feels like the difficulty is artificially inflated because the vendors run out of money so fast that you can't really stockpile a ton of rubles on hunter mode, and If you look at like another example, which is Escape from Tarkov, the vendors in that game, they have infinite rubles because the game rightfully understands that having infinite rubles is one of the ways the player can insulate themselves versus like a bad series of losses. Is that like if you have a bad couple of L's that you take, you can have 150,000 rubles on you and you can just keep buying new kits because you stocked up. You stored your nuts for when winter would arrive. In this game, you can't really do that, which means that I'm constantly like trying to store gear, but I'm kind of limited on inventory space right now because I haven't upgraded my storage bench very much. And so I would like to see the amount of money on all these vendors increased by probably 2 to 3 times a day. So like 40,000 maybe a day feels a little bit fair, and each of the vendors should have their own money. It's weird that the loners, the scientists, and the Green Army all have the same pool of cash when you're selling items to them, even though they're all distinct factions that, as far as the storyline goes, only tolerate one another when they really have to. The good news is, with our successful runs here, we've actually got some modules I think we can build. So yeah, with my one hammer, it looks like I can build myself an ammo workbench. Let's go ahead and do that. Ammo workbench sounds good. If I wanted to get this done, I need to get like full sets of cutlery. I need to get some pillows and whatnot over here, and I need to get another hammer so that I can make my inventory larger. But I'll show you what the building system looks like real fast. So we get this guy right here, and you're gonna go to your journal and you go to the base menu and it'll have little slots. And basically you just take these slots right here, you hold right here to install the ammo producer, and bam. Now we should have an ammo bench. And now that the ammo bench is there, we can click that in our inventory. It's kind of like a weird roundabout process, all right? I hope that they change it so that when you use it, the slots just show up on the ground right here and you can click and drag it, or like drag it over and just click it where you want it to go. A few too many steps at the moment, but this thing should produce ammo for us and also scrap for us, and it'll make it so that we can craft more bullet types inside of here so that we are much less reliant on the AI to have the things that I need. So there you go. Like I can use scrap metal, and I just made myself 60 more bullets. And that's good because you can't really buy these PS bullets until you unlock the Green Army. PS bullets are basically just like your default steel core, like steel jacket bullets or whatever, copper jacket bullets. They just like hit things. They don't mushroom. They aren't hollow point. They aren't tracers. They're basically like your default round in any game like Tarkov. Now I'm going to close out my thoughts here while we load on into the makeshift camp, because I do have some thoughts about I think I've played for like 8 or 10 hours. I was getting ready to make another video prior to this, so if you're looking at my account right now and you're like, oh, this guy's like at the beginning of the game. Yeah, the most recent save, like the big major update they pushed yesterday, it wiped out saves. That's a thing that happens, and so I played for 2 or 3 hours this morning to kind of like sort of take the edge off of where I was, but I'm not nearly as far as I was getting a video ready, and I was like 25 hours into the game and I had like a bunch of base built up. But that's why I am where I am, just in case you wanted to know what my excuse. Oh, Christ. Okay. So opening up on Zero Sievert, I would say that most of my impressions of the game are still pretty bullish, I think. I think that with an overhaul of the progression systems, it's actually one of my worries about the game was that it was staying much too close to Tarkov's breast. So, like, with the previous sets of missions that existed and whatnot, they were very much like Tarkov's missions. With the objectives now being changed up and the game starting to have its own storyline, some of those worries have been assuaged. I actually really like the new missions. I think they're way more fun than the last ones that were directly bitten from Tarkov, because as somebody that has like 5,000 hours in Tarkov, been there, done that. I'd love to do something new. I found that the new sights and sounds of the zone in this patch are satisfying as well, and there is a high level of difficulty in the current patch that will keep you on the edge of your seat. But as I mentioned previously in the video, I guess Sievert is kind of in a weird spot right now with regards to overall balance. It's pretty new player unfriendly at the moment, like even if you're playing on the non-drop all of your stuff mode. New additions, I think, like the Green Army being hostile by default, make the game into quite the paranoia fest, trying to guess where the next one-tap is coming from for a seasoned veteran of the game like myself. Like, I found myself, like, constantly with my eyes wide open, like, listening for footsteps and stuff, because they one-tap you and tag you from a long ways off, and they can sink a lot of bullets, too. And so I played this game a whole bunch, so I figured that learning curve for a new player may be pretty tough and a little bit frustrating. The Green Army is probably the one part of this patch I'd maybe consider pulling back on. other than that, you're probably going to hit some bugs with this patch as well. As I said, let it have a few weeks to gather up some hot fixes and general polish passes. A lot of people on the forums are reporting problems with their games, like narratives that won't conclude and stuff like that. But from my corner of the field, I still think that Zero Sievert is a really great game. But I think that you got to think about with like a massive patch like this. So they've retooled the storyline entirely. They've retooled the faction system entirely. Like, they've redone a lot of things with this patch. And any patch that moves a lot of parts around like that, I think it's a little bit going to be expected that there's going to be some rough edges in there. And if those rough edges are the kind of thing that bother you or are going to derail you or make you really regret your purchase, I'd probably wait a couple of hot fixes. My guess is they rolled out this massive patch, and now they're going to go back through, and they're looking at bug reports, and they're getting everything tacked back together before they move on to the next big chunk of content. The time I spent playing around and recording for this video felt really good to me. The weapons felt better than ever. The game carries that same tension on hunter mode that games like Tarkov have done a really good job at capitalizing on. And I think that's probably a tough thing to corner now that I think about it in a single-player game. Normally, tension like that is provided by other players acting in ways that you can't predict because they don't have that static AI. Hunter mode for me has pretty much completely retooled my enjoyment of the game from being pretty burned out on it to like going full 100-yard stare at my screen and like feeling my neck sweat a little bit during like the big victories and losses. And I think that's actually an experience that's kind of rare in a single player game, especially like a sandbox game where you slowly get more powerful. There are rough edges to the game, though, right now. Like, the faction system is pretty grindy. The Green Army, they are absolute invisible Terminators a lot of the time due to the color of their armor, the quality of their gear, how much they blend in with the surroundings, how much damage they can soak. Some of the quests felt a little bit tougher to me as well, especially given the fact that some of the quests will actually revert themselves. So I completed a few quests, and then I died after I finished those quests, and it like reverts them back to a previous state. So you actually, you could think about it in Tarkov terms, almost like a lot of the quests in this game that I've seen so far sort of have like a survive and extract tag on them, except that the game doesn't tell you that, because I definitely had some quests rolled back on me as well because I died after completing them. And so difficulty, I think, is at an all-time high right now. If you're down for that experience and you're okay with there being some bugs, Zero Sievert is rad. If you're not okay with those things, I still think that Zero Sievert has its footing in the right place. It's just in a little bit of a transitional period right now with a lot of things changing. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were taking another look at Zero Sievert. Tomorrow, we'll be taking a look at something else. Thank you for sharing your time with me. Sorry about all the things that are kind of like replays right now and like checkups. It is just a really weird quarter for gaming. Like, everything on Earth right now is like a card game, a platformer, just generally things that I'm not super into. And like the gritty, dark RPGs and strategy stuff is not forthcoming. And so I'm doing a lot of checkups right now. And I know that's probably bothering some people, but like if it's either that or like no videos, you know what I mean? So doing the best I can with the time I've been given. I'll see y'all later. Thank you for stopping on in, and that's about all I got.